Good evening, Bruin fans, and welcome to another edition of Something Bruin here with Coach Cook here in season four and coming off the bye week. And so, Rashad, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm at the confines of my home, so I'm relaxing today. Normally Friday nights we're getting ready for a game. Just finishing up our meal and getting ready to do our team walkthrough around this time. So, doing pretty good. How are you, Mark?
Hey, I'm doing great. And for all the listeners out there, we also didn't have have a show last week because you know, when we tried to connect there on Wednesday, that was actually the first home game for JV football. So just a lot of logistics, here with here here with last week being a different week, JV football being Wednesday, and then varsity being Thursday.
Yeah, it was a short week for everybody. Just came off a Kings Fort game and then had to turn right around and JV played Wednesday, varsity played Thursday night due to a concert coming up that upcoming weekend near the Hickory area. But it was a short week, and as you mentioned, Mark, it's a lot of moving parts. Just trying to keep the week as normal as possible for the guys. Where we really do not play on Thursdays unless it's just those unforeseen circumstances. But, we made it through and here we are now.
Yes, and I know usually, Friday nights game week, but I know that I had something come up here this earlier in the week here to go catch a game there at Nats Park. So with it being
Yes.
a bye week here, something brewing here on Friday night here to give the Bruin fans. So come next week, we're turning the calendar to October 1st there
Over.
on Tuesday, and after the bye week, it's nothing but games for the rest of the regular season.
Correct, absolutely. We're on a 6 game stretch. This bye week has been great. It's allowed us to really reinvest back into our purpose and understand that where we are, we can control. We can't control where we are right now, but we can control the next 6 weeks that we got coming up. And this week has been a slow as fast approach. So we really wanted to slow things down, strip it down to the bare bones, like Coach Black would say, and build our kids back up to confidence, build them back up to where they need to be, and look forward to our next game coming up next Friday.
Yeah, and we started off with Medgeville, then had Benedictine, and then going into leading up to the bye week, it was a home game against Kings Fork, a road game against Hickory, but it was back to back games of opening up our
Yep.
district schedule, and then when we come back here next week, then it's full blown full time district schedule the rest of the season.
Correct, absolutely. The beauty about this program, we highlight our success, we learn from our failures, and we move, we build on. And, hats off to Hickory. They came in with a game plan. We kind of came in with just a lull of that Kings Fort loss. And we told them, be careful of the trap game. Just you got to move on. We got to turn the page, and we just couldn't quite do that this past week from a varsity standpoint. And we learn from it. Those are the things that you grow from, and you figure out how you get better, and you try not to make the same mistake again. So, as a head coach of this program, we got to enjoy the good, we got to understand the ugly, and we take the bad and we try to make it, better. So, one message I sent to our staff this week is your best equals their best equals our best, and I got that from Clemson. Just some of the newsletters I get, and it starts with us. So the harder we work, the more we reinvest back into why we're coaching, why we're teaching, and why we're developing young men, we're going to pull the best out of those guys. And then once we get the best out of those guys holistically as a program, we become our very best. And so that's been our motivation, our empowerment going into this week and throughout this week in the bye. It's giving us the time to allow our bodies to heal and rest, knowing that we started in August and we've been hitting the road ever since. And now we're in the hunt for October. We
Yeah.
got 6 games, Mark, and we want to take it one week at a time, man. But we're gonna be excited to get back to Friday night lights and football coming up next Friday.
Right. Yes, and even with having opportunity to go see the Nats, play the Royals,
Hmm.
with taking my nephew to dropping him off at school yesterday before my dad and I left the area.
Yeah,
Just ended up passing Hayfield, and I know that
yeah,
they're in Northern Virginia, a lot of Group 6 schools. So, everybody here, the first 3, 4 games are done,
yeah,
and then with October coming, that means fall is uh, is here,
yeah.
and that means cooler temperatures come Friday games, and it's football weather.
Absolutely. We tell our kids all the time, you gotta be crazy to play this game. You train all summer in the heat to win championships in the cold. And so it feels good that the fall is officially almost here. And yeah, we're done with our out of conference and play, and our schedule is the same from last year. So all we did was just flip home and home. Benedictine is the only one that re-traveled back to Art Brangel Stadium. But for everybody else, where we travel away, or whether we were home, it's just been the opposite. So our schedule has definitely prepared us. One things we're proud of is being able to say that we've been in the playoffs ever since, fall 21 came around. And that's something we take pride in. So we're really competing not just for a winning record and not just for district conference and regional championships, but we want to be in the playoffs each year, and give our kids that extended practices and opportunities to be able to play this game we all love.
Yeah, and the thing is, and you see it in college, you see it in professional, no matter what sport,
Mhm.
all they talk about is, yes, everybody wants to win every game, but, everybody just talks about, hey, just get in to the tournament.
Right.
And yes, I mean, even with some hiccups, we use that as learning experiences, and it's time to turn the page and
Mhm.
move forward and get ready here for Nansen River, and back in front of the home folks.
Absolutely. I think the message this week was eliminate excuses.
Yes.
Stop looking everywhere else. Stop looking at all the things and look at yourself. Look within yourself. Even as coaches, self-reflection. Even as a head coach, leading the program, self-reflection. Don't look at all the excuses and all the disadvantages. Look at where we are and how we got there and how we could get out of it, how we could get better. So I totally agree with you, Mark. Where we are and the hiccups are designed for you to get better. But and I know when you get to the playoffs, everybody record is 0-0.
Right.
And it's 1-0 for real. Just
Right.
one week at a time and one game at a time, and the winner moves on. And obviously, survive in advance. But for us, we've been so accustomed to winning that we may have gotten away from the standard. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to really understand that happens. We're human beings. No one's perfect, but I think this week has really allowed us to come to balance and really reevaluate ourselves as a program, as players and coaches, and put this thing in the right direction to get us going. All one of our alums that are on our staff shared this with me. He said, good captains know how to steer around the storm, not through the storm. As a head coach, and Coach E is spot on when he hits certain quotes and things that where we are is not who we are, but how we get around it, how we get through it is everything we are. And, I believe in that 100%. So shout out to Coach E. And,
Right.
he's right where he needs to be as the associate head coach. Has really bought his time. He's a Bruin as Bruins can get. And, has really helped in this process of not pressing the panic button, but just understanding that we can all learn from this, grow, and be prepared coming out of it.
And I'm not gonna say what year it was, but showing our age, when I first met Eric, we weren't sixth grade wasn't part of
Right?
middle school. So
Correct.
I remember when Coach E was playing Pop Warner or City football,
Right.
as my sister cheered, but people that were in my class were playing there. I think it's the middle school
Yeah.
practice field,
Yeah. Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So definitely Coach E and I go back a few years.
No doubt. I heard a story or two this week from him. And, I think we all came through the Parks and Rec era of being a Western Branch coach or whatever the team was at the time. But yeah, he's been great. All of our staff has been great, and I kind of sit back and smile. I believe we have 7 alum that are
Yeah.
currently on the roster as a coach. And, so it's just good to see that we're preserving the integrity, we're preserving the what makes Western Branch High School what it is. And I think the more alum you have, the more our kids understand, the foundation of what Western Branch football is and what it means to each era and generation that came through. And so to me, it's just something special, Mark.
Yeah, and the other thing is through text or through a phone call, I'll hear from Mr. Brander, Coach Arculin,
Yes,
Scott, Lou, so even the former head coaches there of Bruin football, over different years,
correct.
especially with the school, celebrating, I think this might be the 55th, graduating class
Right.
this year. So, just not to be a broken record, but
Yes.
just the Bruin pride goes deep.
100%. I agree. 100%. And it's kind of crazy. You look at high school sports, you look at high school football, and I believe, and I hate to be inaccurate because it's not something I dwell on or pay attention to quite a bit, but I'm the 7th head
Yeah.
coach in school history, I believe.
Hmm.
So when you look at the amount of men that have led this high school and led this program, it's not a high turnover rate, for
Right.
lack of better terms. It's select the right guy and let the guy do his job. And that's a lot. That speaks volume of the administration and how Western Branch really values the guys that are in leadership roles here at Western Branch. I am the first Bruin football alum to lead the
Yeah.
program in school history. But those things are part of history, and that'll be a story to tell at a later date. But getting back to where we were, Mark, just knowing that, the men that have come before and the leadership that we currently have right now and the staff that we currently have right now, that Bruin pride just, is just everywhere. And even, Coach Mitchell left this with the kids. Tough times don't last long, but tough teams do. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And getting through certain things and coming out on the other end, the value that you get to see of what you went through and the lessons that that came out of it is what makes this sport so special because this will be a 10-year later process for a 16-year-old young man that's 26, 10 years from now. And maybe it's something at work, or maybe it's family driven. So we always try to really empower our young men and really put sports into perspective of life so they have tools when they navigate into the real world to be successful. And that's how we all approach as Bruin alums coming out of our time and our era here as athletes and students at Western Branch High School.
Yeah, and and the thing is, I mean, even last week, I mean, Kevin Cox,
Yes,
reached out to me, and I know that his class his 40-year reunion. But
Yeah,
you know how he wanted to reach out to you as homecoming
yeah,
is, is 3 weeks from tonight.
right.
October 18th. And so and then Rick, Corey, and Kevin's brother
Hmm.
that participated there in our golf
Golf tournament.
outing.
Yep, and that
And so it's just even the Bruin alums that still live in the area or with social media, still stay in tune to
right.
how we're doing.
Absolutely, and that's what we want. We
Yeah.
call it Bruin Nation for a reason. And we've all said, Mark, that this is just one of the unique schools in Chesapeake and unique programs in the 757. And it's been like that for decades. But yeah, it's awesome, man. And we spoke earlier in our shows previously. We love to have those alums come back because the
Yeah.
more stories, the more legacy, the more tradition, and the more understanding of what West Branch Bruin football is about and what it's done for all the guys that have come through this program. So yeah, it's just awesome. I'm looking forward to finishing this season and doing what we need to do. But that golf tournament next spring, man, I'm excited about, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about, and it was fun a year ago or 2 years ago when we did it, and being around those guys and being around Coach Arculin and just brewing along, So it's I'm excited about where we are. We want the world to be perfect. We want Western Branch to be perfect. I would love to be perfect in my tenure here, but I understand that we're working with 14 to 18-year-old young men, and we're
Yeah.
asking them to do something that it's pros get to that level and still can't perform, week in and week out at a high level. But they're doing a phenomenal job, and we will forever celebrate our boys, and we will forever, empower them and uplift them as they dedicate themselves to our school, and community as a whole. So I'm excited about where we are.
Yeah, and the thing and here's showing our age. I mean, with some of our kids, going to games there on Saturdays. I mean,
Yeah,
a couple kids that recently went to East Carolina, and
yep,
their wide receivers coach. I mean, I remember when he played at Smithfield. I mean,
yep,
so just guys that are not only from our school, but from our area. Coaching there at the mid major, D1 level, and I know right there at William and Mary, they got some Deep Creek and Oscar Smith alums there on the coaching staff.
absolutely, absolutely. Coach Roberts, ever since he took over the job at East Carolina, has been first class. We got some connections with Virginia Tech through Rock Carmichael, Vincent Hall, and Nikos Brown, Wiley Brown, all those guys. So it's just kind of unique how all the guys that we have been around have connections, with other guys throughout the area. But yeah, he's done a great job. J. Mari Parker, who picked up an offer a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago to East Carolina, was invited to a unofficial visit, and he took Bryce Parker with him, which also and Kanique Baines to take in that process as well. Tomorrow we got Kumari Hudson. 27 class guy that should be taking an unofficial visit to East Carolina along with maybe possibly Dayon Curry that'll go with them. And Pitt came in today, to look at some of our guys in the 27 class to really recruit, and at least get eyes on. So we're doing very well in the recruitment ranks, and that's the beauty of Western Branch and the culture that we have. Some guys recruit the schools and some guys recruit the program, and they understand that the program is bigger than the record or the program is the record, but yet they understand the standard that comes from it. So, I'm just thankful to be able to have guys come in the building and really see and take interest in the young men that we get to teach and develop. That speaks volume of our coaching staff, and by each position, every coach is really dedicated and committed themselves to developing the entire student athlete. So that's been great. Speaking of that, we got guys that play on Saturday, right, Mark?
Yeah, that's right.
We since 2022, we've gotten 24 boys in college, and we currently have 19 on active rosters on 13 different college campuses.
Yeah.
And to me, again, that speaks volume. West Branch High School football program, the way we recruit our kids, the way our kids align themselves academically to be recruitable, and then how they present themselves on social media, how they present themselves on the field, and obviously off the field in the locker room and in the classroom. So, it's definitely good. I think one guy we talked about on the pre-show before we really got going was Mossy Bruning.
Yeah.
And I said he's the epitome of a Bruin.
Right.
Family ties. His mom attended Western Branch. Was an outstanding star here in multiple sports, and it was just an honor and a pleasure for me to be able to coach Mossy and catch him in his sophomore going to junior year, and really be able to lead and guide, for 2 seasons in 21 and for 1 season or spring and a fall season going into his senior year. So it's been fun. He's had a great start, and Christopher Newport, Coach Crawley, has come in numerous times, spoke very highly of him as a student athlete, as a leader in the weight room, as a player on the field. And I know you highlighted a clip or a video they made of him, and it just gave me nothing but joy,
Right.
to see him being celebrated. Someone who probably wanted the big D1 opportunity, a D2 opportunity, a D3, didn't matter. He just wanted to play football.
Right.
And, with his mom also attending Christopher Newport, it felt like home for him. And his academics were right on point too, Mark. So, again, I think there's a home for every kid. And a lot of kids that want the D1 dreams and the mid-major dreams realize sometimes it's not the big name, but the big opportunity to make a name. And that's what Mossy has been doing.
Right. Yeah, and in every college athletics, has a marketing program, has a video program. So, it was cool to see, CNU football one real highlight,
Yes.
highlighting him, and also another thing with our kids posted when they do go visit, it's also cool that when they go visit and there's a Bruin alum on the team, it's also cool to
Yeah.
see that current Bruin
Correct.
taking a picture of a Bruin alum that is there in that school's program.
Hey man, that's the best recruiting tool right
That
there, right?
is that
That
is
kind of takes us back to Blacksburg when you had Emmett Johnson and Chiron Stiff and Lorenzo Ferguson and
yeah.
Pete Burnell and all those guys in there, and that's a face you knew, that's a name you knew. So it really helps with recruitment, when you look at, hey, I know that guy was in the same locker room I was in,
Right.
and went to the same school. And, to me, even in the high school level, kids are the best recruiters. They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you how the program is and how Coach Cook is and what he likes and don't like. And, to me, that's helped our young freshmen, incoming freshmen transition so well over the past few years by us being a transparent coaching staff, but our kids also being transparent as well. And again, nobody's perfect, right, at any
Right.
level, but we strive to at least provide that environment and opportunity. But yeah, it's awesome. My biggest thing, and I'll say this to any kid that watches our show and aspires to be at any level in any sport. When you go on these visits, shake every hand because
Yeah.
you never know where that coach will be in a year. You never know that what that handshake meant to that coach, an introduction of who you are, and smile. Don't go to these visits with a game face, man. Really
Right.
show who you are and your personality, and that really goes a long way. And a lot of times our athletes think I go to this visit because they want me. No, they want to see if you fit their locker room
Right.
and their culture that's currently there. And who do you give them? I'm gonna use this term, vibes. Who do you give them connection to that's already in their locker room? So that goes to any young aspiring student athlete, male or female. When you get the opportunities to be in front of scouts and coaches, shake every hand you can and smile. Really show that you want to be there, and you appreciate being there for the opportunity.
Yeah, and and the other thing is, I mean, for the Bruin alums that listen, to this program, we definitely, I know that there in Winchester, we have a contingent of Bruin alums there
Hmm.
being part of Shenandoah
Yeah,
football, but they're tomorrow. I mean, William and Mary and Hampton,
yeah.
fight battling it out, and definitely have a Bruin there in both programs.
Right, right. I'm excited about that. I get to go see, William and Mary and Dez and those guys be able to compete. I get to go see Jazari Priester and those guys compete. And, it's kind of unique. I know we had a lot of Bruins, throughout the years go to different universities and colleges, but I wonder if we've had this many that compete against each other in one conference. You
Right.
got C.J.
Yeah.
Frazier at Richmond. You got Shamik Blizzard at North Carolina A&T in the CAA.
Right.
You got Jazari Priester. You got Desmond Cook, and it's just it's insane. And then you got the ODAC conference,
Right.
with Ty Todd and Mike Bowen, and we just talked about Marcy Bruning. So and we also have Demetrius Perry
Yeah.
at Southern Virginia,
Right.
and he's
Yeah.
made the travel squad as a true freshman on special teams. So, it's just pretty neat to see. And then obviously Devin and Shamik played against each other
Yeah.
opening up, but PJ and Devin have played against each other. So
Right.
it's just kind of fun to watch. And I know we're missing some names of other guys like Caleb Broadbent and those boys at Norfolk State, but it's just real neat to see where we are and how our Bruins are definitely in a alignment and an opportunity to really compete against each other at a high level, and cheer for each other. I know they're not friends on that day, but they're
Right.
still rooting for their brother. You know what I mean? It's a brotherhood and a bond in the family. But it's awesome, man. It's really
Right.
awesome. William and Mary and Hampton last year was a barn burner.
Yeah.
Just like at the end of the game, William and Mary found a way to get it done. And Hampton has been playing well the last few weeks. And Jazari has been an impact player on defense.
Yeah.
Dez had spot play versus Coastal Carolina and versus VMI. It's been on special teams and all those good things. So, it's just a part of the process. And I'm just excited for all these young men to get to compete. Saw CJ just sitting home looking at the game last week, just a little bit under the weather, and watching CJ play live versus Delaware State.
Right.
Right in the confines of my own home. So it's definitely fun to be able to sit back as a Bruin and watch our Bruins compete, and just strive and grow.
Well, I know in my immediate family, brother, sister, graduate
Mhm.
of William and Mary. My brother-in-law got his master's of William and Mary, and then on the Elizabeth side, we got an aunt and uncle, we got a cousin, that's a tribe alum. So with tomorrow being Parents Weekend, I know that my sister and brother-in-law will be in the stands, and
Nice.
I think with my nephew being a student, I think he's gonna look out for his sister, and I think my niece is gonna be able to watch the game there from the student section.
Right.
So I know
Right.
that the Ragsdale family is gonna be tuned into that William and Mary Hampton game.
Absolutely. The cooks will be there too. I didn't get to go last week because I was under the weather.
Right,
So this will be my first game, believe it or not, all season to be able to see Dez, in person. And so I'm excited about the opportunity, and just proud of everybody that's competing. This game that we love is so taxing and demanding mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I shared with CJ Frazier earlier, what Bruin Pride meant to us as a program: perseverance, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence. And when I look at so many Bruins that are waiting their time and competing, buying their time, or getting after it right now, that word perseverance speaks a lot of volume and what it takes, to be a college student athlete and be prepared and be ready for that moment. So I'm excited for all of our Bruins.
yes, and definitely. a dear friend, to us, and you played for him, but definitely when we talk about William Mary football, we and Bruin football, we definitely got to make a reference here to bring up Coach J.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it. You know
That's
it. You know it. William and Mary, just everything. I think I was probably 97, 98. I might have asked him, like, Coach, where'd you play college ball? And he
right.
told me, and it never went
Yeah.
away. And when Dez was in that recruitment process, we ran into one of either his fraternity brother or one of his teammates
Okay.
at William and Mary that played with him during the same
Yeah.
time. So that was pretty cool to see things come full circle and still have those connections. But yeah, it's just a good time for Bruins. You say it all the time, Mark. You can't hide that Bruin pride.
Right.
And for our guys that are carrying that torch, there's so many others that have played, at the next level, and not even the ones that didn't play. The ones that sacrificed themselves to allow us to get to that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just so thankful to be able to say we're Bruins.
Yeah,
100%.
and I know that we'll get back on, the regular drum beat of
Yep.
Thursdays,
Yep.
here come next week. But fans, as we move into October, this first week of October, it's Sarah Wright is one that I first saw it, but I know that the school is looking at next week, recognizing different types of cancer awareness
Mm.
each day, and it's gonna end there with Friday being a pink out here,
Yep.
with next Friday being a home game.
Absolutely. So we're excited about that, definitely. And we got a good Nansman River coming in. They gave Kings Fort, you know, everything they had last night. A lot of schools played yesterday
Yeah.
to avoid the remnants of the hurricane that we're taking in right now. But yeah, we're excited. It's no place like home. You know that, Mark.
Right.
And we get to come off the bye week and be able to host a quality opponent right in our own backyard. So our kids are excited about getting back after it. And, we're just going to come to balance, get ready to break down this film and kind of get our boys prepared, get the game plan ready by Sunday, be able to share that with the guys. We need to get prepared mentally going into Monday. And, we're going to get after it. So one thing we will do is try to get back to being physical a little bit more in practice. Those are some of the things you try to scale back as the season progresses because of the wear and tear of the body. But for some teams, you can do it. Some teams you can't. Some teams they got to continue to be physical and play with that physical presence and mindset. And this is a program, this is a team this year that has to keep that edge on a daily basis. Still keep them safe, but at the same time, don't pull back on what made them to start this season off. So those are some of the self evaluations I was talking about, Mark, as a staff and as a head coach. What are some things we need to do, or what were we doing versus what we stopped doing? And these are things you could easily reinvest back into while still making sure the safety of the kid and all the players are there. But definitely that's something we want to attack this upcoming week with, just getting back to being a little bit more physical in practice and really being students of the game to be prepared for this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, and I also see that Riley Higgins, there at Elizabeth City State,
Yes.
getting some time here with,
Oh yeah.
there in the kicking game.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
Bruins everywhere, man.
That's
It's
right.
Bruins everywhere. So just, again, just so proud of everybody that is carrying that torch. You know what I mean? And even if you're a Bruin alum and your favorite team, you see Western Branch High School, Chesapeake, Virginia up there with that name attached to
Right.
it, regardless of what school, it brings pride and joy. You know what I mean? Because of honoring the past and celebrating the present while building towards our future Bruins. So,
Yeah.
we're definitely excited, Mark. So I appreciate your flexibility.
Sure.
Last week was just a lot of small moving parts that didn't allow us to get together. But there are no sore losers at Western Branch. Oftentimes you hit a wall where you're worried about what other people are thinking. No, one thing you've allowed and Mike Sharp gave to you was an opportunity for us to share our story. And our story is transparent. We want everything to be perfect, but we know that's not life. But it's allowed us to become a better version of us. And this off season really, this bye week, I'm sorry, has really allowed us to come to balance in that mindset as well.
Yes, I mean, well, thank you for that. And I know when I was talking to Elizabeth of, trying to, stay the course with the
Hmm.
week.
Hmm.
When I tried to connect with you there on last Wednesday, I forgot that not only did varsity football, rearrange their schedule, but
Yeah,
when two Chesapeake schools faced each other, that meant that JV had to, and so with, JV football and Coach Duncan having their first
right.
home game,
Correct. And
so,
JV did a phenomenal job. We
right,
love where they are. Coach Duncan, and Coach E are definitely aligning those guys well. Our coaching staff, varsity is our JV staff. So, that quarterback coach, that wide receiver coach, that tight end, that whatever position, O line, they're all coached by the same guy. So it's one voice, one technique, one concept, one scheme. And that's really allowed our JV kids to really grow in this program, and it's allowed our coaching staff to really develop those young men so that in due time they will be varsity ready. But yeah, they did a great job. JV did a phenomenal. I think they're 2-1 right now in the season. Their bye week was the second week versus Benedictine, but they opened up with Lake Taylor, had a bye week for Benedictine, went to Nansman, lost a tough one, very close game, and then came back to balance against Hickory, and now they're getting prepared for a good JV Kingsport. So next week is going to be a full practice week for us. So we will be happy to not feel like we're cramming everything all in one in 2 to 3 days, but we'll get it right. And the biggest thing this week allows you to get a little more healthier, and that's what we were able to do.
yeah, and I think as we wrap up, a nice little human interest story that Mark Davis of Channel Three
Yes,
did there with one of our offensive linemen, and with
yes,
being varsity singer alum,
yes.
definitely nice to see a football player involved in music.
The one thing I shared with Mark, that was a great piece, first of
Yeah,
all. Josh did a phenomenal job, well deserved. And the one thing I shared with Mark Davis was, and I think he added that on the air, was, oftentimes we think football or basketball or whatever sport is what we're gifted at.
yeah,
And in reality, I didn't say it obviously on the air, but God has blessed us with so many other gifts.
right,
Some people are good at artwork, some people are good at poetry and poem and music. And Josh is just blessed with the ability to self-teach himself,
right.
learn how to do it during COVID, applied football as the discipline to stick with it. And for me, it's just like, don't just be good at sports. Find other things that you have in your arsenal of what you're already gifted and blessed with, and tap into that potential as well. So, what a great piece and an awesome family and a young man. And again, we're proud to call him a Bruin, and proud that and thankful and grateful to be in the position we've been in with Josh, and just wish just want to see so many kids like him
Yeah.
continue to grow and thrive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, Rashad, thanks again for your time, and go Bruins, and we'll talk to you later.